Hello everyone, welcome back for the third video tutorial. So in the previous video, we focused our discussion on the use of lists to support multiple items. It doesn't matter, it's going to be text items, number item, or the entity item. Now, since we also have like a list, for example, student list, and we want to show the student information like the GPA. So in this case, if I do it this way, then I'm gonna have to separately do it this way,ครับ. So I'm gonna have to refer to each student like this, right? So that is not convenient because I need to have like multiple statement like this. So therefore, let's say that I have like millions students. So that means I need to use a printout for million times, which is not uh, convenience. So therefore, how about if I do it this way? I say I would like to be able to print it out by looking at all the elements into the list. So therefore, in Python, if you want to do the looping, right? So let's take a look at this cup. Over here, Python loop objects in list. Okay, so you can look at this. So it's going to be iterate to the list in Python. So there is more than one way of doing this. Okay, more than one way of doing this. W3C. I always love to look at this first. Okay, so this is the websites that give you the Python tutorial. You can also follow step by step, okay, the topics that they have in these websites as well to learn more about this. So as you can see that if you have like the startup of your list equal to 3 different items right here, and you want to print out, okay, all the elements inside the list, you can just start up with the keyword for, okay, and then you say that it's gonna be inside this list, which is this variable name. And each time what happens is that it's gonna just go ahead and, okay, give me the first one. This first here, the first item will be assigned to the value of x. Ajahn, why do we have x? It could have any other name like apple or orange or maybe like xx or whatever you want to call. This is going to be used as the nickname every time that this guy loop over the element in here. They're going to need to have the variable to hold each data that they pick it up for you. So the first time the x is equal to apple, and they're going to print out this value for you. So that means in Python, you can use these kinds of statements to print out many things. So this is what happened. First, look at this list, and then give me the first elements assigned to x, and therefore, let's print out this value for me. And then, look at the list again one more time. As you can see, we still have more elements, so they pick up the second one. The second value will be assigned to the x, and then this execution will be done also. And then they look up the list also and say, oh, we have another one right here. So this value will be assigned to x, and then they print out x for you. Next time they look up the list one more time and they say that no longer we don't have any other elements left over, so therefore they stop the loop and then they go down and do something else. So that's the techniques or mechanics of the looping statement in Python. So we're gonna do this one for a simple one first so that you can learn from here. So let's say that we have like a list one equal to 10, 20, and 30, right? So and you want to loop to each element, so we say for, and then I say item in this one. This name could be any name, it's just the name of variable that locally used in this statement, so that each time you can reference to each item from this variable. And then just like making decision, you also have to have colon. And you might wonder, can I put the parentheses right here? Well, let's try that one, okay? And then you say that this time, as you can see, it's gonna give you the error. That means I like making decision, okay? You don't have to put the parentheses, okay? Don't have to put parentheses, that's the Python way. And then over here, do the indentation. So in my case, I just put double white space over here, okay? And then I can say, okay, I want to print out the items, okay? And enter again one more time. As you can see, now just 2 lines of code, it print out 3 different items. Imagine if this is 100 line, then you just 100 items, then it means that you need only 2 lines of your statements to print out 100 items. Okay, so now we're gonna switch back to the students case. So over here we know that this is the list that hold 2 different objects, right? So therefore over here, what I'm going to do is that I think it's causing the issue because of this website. So my fans in my computer start to sprint a lot. Okay, so now with this one, okay, so if I want to do the same thing, I say for is students in student in this list, okay, and then you can put colon after this, and then put tab here, and you can say that I want to print out the whole student information. Then you can just print student like this, and it's gonna print out object by object like this. Now if you want to print out only the maybe the GPA of the students, therefore this is what you need to do. So first you say it this way, and then you say that I want to print out, okay, so now we reference, okay, to the, see, so this time the student now already represent the item, so therefore you don't have to put the index anymore because now you refer to the first item already. So therefore what we need is a second square bracket here, and then we can just put the name of the information that you like, which is the GPA. In the past, I have seen many students just put like the index right here, which is wrong. Okay, so you just need to have only one indexing because it's already, each time student has already assigned to each element. So unlike the one before, that you need this one because now you are not in the loop and you first have to tell the computer which elements you want to work with before you accessing the information for each element. Okay, all right. So over here, let's do the same thing. As you can see, you got two different data. What else? What if I would like to find the average value of the GPA? So we know that by now, if you do it by human being, we would just add these two numbers up and divide it by 2 because we have 2 students, right? And that's going to give us 3.25. So in Python, how do we do this? Well, so before you enter the loop, you can say that you can have like total GPA. So I'm going to use carve-up case to name my variable. Okay. So when you name your variable, when you have subsequent word like this is what we call camel case. The first word all lowercase, subsequent words, the first letter always start up with uppercase letter. For keep-up case, for each word we separate it by the underscore, so that it look like this. So for now, I'm going to use carve-up case for this tutorial. Okay. So once we have total GPA, then we just put it first equal to 0 before you enter the loop. And then each time you do the looping like this, okay, then you do the tab and you say, okay, so again, we have total GPA equal to 0 at the beginning. Each time they're going to give us the students. So what we need to do is just to keep accumulating this number. So therefore, it's going to be total GPA equal to total GPA plus this student GPA. So therefore, how do you refer to that student GPA? So we just say students and then not 0 but the GPA information. All right. So as you can see, what happened? The first time they look up into the elements in the student, they're gonna give you the first of this object. They assign this one to student. What else? And then we say that, oh, okay, the value of total GPA first equal to 0. So why don't we just reference to student, which is this guy, and because of these operators, we reference to the GPA. Therefore, you're gonna get the 3. So the value 3 will be added with the 0, and then just turn it into total GPA. And then they just move on to the second object here, and then this object will be assigned to the student this time. So when you refer to student GPA this time, it's gonna just pick up 3.5 and the 3.5 plus previously the total GPA was already 3, so 3 plus 3.5 become 6.5. So therefore, after the loop, the value of the total GPA is going to be equal to 6.5. Now this is not done yet because we need to find the average, right? To find the average, then you know that Ajahn is going to be total GPA divided by, if you want to divide it by 2 directly, that's okay. But just in case that you assume that you don't have how many number of students in the list, so therefore you can always do it this way by saying, I want to find out how many students are there in the student list. So you put the length function, and it's going to give you 3.5 like this. Okay, all right. So over here, as you can see, whenever you start developing something that is really important, and you feel like, Ajahn, I'm going to reuse it again over again. Therefore, it is not convenient to go to the script like this and then um, trying to go line by line. So that is why we should develop our code into the script that look like this. Okay, so allow me to back up this into another file just in case that we need to use it in the future. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to remove this one, and then we are going to go from scratch one more time. So in this case, we say that initially we're going to have the list of students equal to this guy. So therefore, let me okay, right here. So we're gonna have a students equal to this. Okay, so that's gonna be our list. And then okay, down here we're gonna say that this is to find the GPA average GPA. So therefore, what I need to do is let's say that, how about if I call this one as a list number one? Okay, and then I have another list called, let's say that this is gonna be maybe like student list from another section of the student. It's called finance, and this is finance as well. For let's make something a little bit different for example. So that's gonna be second list. Now with the same knowledge that we gain from this, then we can say, oh, finding total GPA is quite simple. We say total GPA equal to 0 first, and then we do the looping. Every time we're gonna have like student inside. So now we're gonna go with list one first. Okay, list one first, and then what we want, as you can see, whenever you enter this, the system automatically just put indentation for you inside this area. And then what we want to show first is we want to print out S for you first, so you can see how it works right here. Now if you run this script, it's gonna print out the output right here as well. So this is how you have multiple lines like this predefined as a sequence of command we call script in Python, instead of just going line by line like here. Okay. Now what I want is not just print out the number. We want actually the average. So therefore we're gonna say total GPA will be each time equal to total GPA plus our S, which is each time the S will be assigned to each object, right? So if you want to reference to GPA, still remember we use square brackets and go to GPA. And now after this is done, okay, after the for is done, then what we want is we want to find the average. So we say the average GPA is going to be equal to total GPA divided by the length of how many students are there in the list one, and then you can print out. Okay, so print AVG GPA for list one, okay, equal to, and then you can now use the add here, and remember we have to turn our number into the text by calling str like this. Now if you run the output, you can see that now we got the average GPA for list one. Good. Now let's say that you have list two. What happened? You're gonna have to come here and change the list two, and then run it again one more time, and you know that, oh, that's two changes gonna give me the different output here. This is not quite convenient because now let's say that you want to call this 1,000 times. You're gonna have to come back and change this one by one. This is not a good practice. So that is why we're gonna need to also develop the new concept that we call user-defined function. So we're gonna refactor this into a function. Like when you call function print, okay, behind the scene there are so many things, but they give you the output on the console area. So now we want to turn this into the command line or the function, the command or function that user can reuse it anytime they want. So therefore, this is what I'm gonna do. So I'm going to just copy this one and then give you the basic idea of how do we create the function. in JavaScript, so you use the functions and then put the name, for example, a file avg, and you can take the input right here and you put the bracket like this, okay, to denote the body of your function. In C# as well, you don't put function, you put the void, so that we know that this function do not return anything. So that's the JavaScript and C# way. Now for Python way, you don't need the word function, but you need the word def to define the definition of your function. Okay, and you don't need the brackets because we don't have brackets idea in the curly bracket idea in Python. We do have the idea of colon and indentation to denote the body of the function. So therefore over here you can say that this function take an input, let's say like list number, just list name, and then you go down right here and then you put your previous function here in the indentation way so that it look like this. So this is what happened. Now what we want to do is we want to need to rename the input. Okay, input could be anything like this, and then you just need to rename this as a list like this. Okay, or if you don't like the word list, you can say that that's going to be my let's say, how about we call students, and if it is students with S, then you're going to have to turn it into a student with S. Okay, like here. Okay, and then what else? And now what we want is we go down here, and if you want to okay, here is the empty line, so we can remove it. You can take it off. We can take it off. Now to call the function, just like you call the print function, so we just call the name of the function right here. So we say file avg, and then we take an input, which is list one. Let's take a look at this first. Okay, what's gonna happen behind the scene? The Python will look at this statement and say, oh, what do you want to do? Well, we want to call the function. How do they know that it's called function? Because you have parentheses and you have the name of the function. And this will be considered as an input to the function. So it's like you walk into the factory and then you take your list as the input to the factory, and that let somebody do something for you. And you walk out with the output, for example. So over here, the Python will look at this and, oh, you already defined the definition of this function right here that takes one input. So therefore, the list one will be assigned to the variable name students. And then this list one will be used as a students with S inside the program, and they're gonna first execute this equal to 0. Then they're gonna go forward and loop through each object into this list, which is this guy at the beginning here. And then each time they find the total GPA, and then after this is done, they find the average value and print out this for you as well. Okay, all right, I'm gonna turn this into list. Now let's rerun this one. As you can see, the type have no length. That's because now I have changed this one to be student. Okay, it should be length of this input. Don't get confused that, oh, outside the function the name of the list is list one, but inside the function, imagine you walk into the factory, your name is maybe like your name is Andy, but when you walk into the factory, the same Andy, some people might reference you as like maybe like Caddy, even though you're still Andy, right? But everyone call you Caddy, so you're still Andy, but the name of the reference in the factory or in the function will be different. Same thing. So whenever you decide that this is gonna be the student, therefore that list one will be referenced as a student with S. Okay, inside the function body here. This is called function body. Why body? Because you have multiple line here. And unlike C# or JavaScript, when you have the bracket to denote the body, the beginning and the end of the body, in Python you use indentation like this. Okay. All right. So now let's try again one more time. As you can see, it gives us this output. Now it's really easy because now if you want to find the average value of GPA for the second list, you can just make a function call again, see, and then rerun it, and you got the same, you got the different output. So that's the good thing about defining your own functions this way. Of course, in Python, you can also save this function in the different file, and then you can import that function as well. For example, let's say that you save this function as like the name. Okay, if you save the script, okay, as let's say call lib1.py, for example. Okay, what happened? Then in another script, if you want to utilize this one, you can just import, okay, lib1 like this. And if you want to use this function file average in another script, you have to say lib1 dot file average like so, and you can take like list one right there. So imagine this happened in another script file, and this one you save it into lib1.py in order to reference to that function command. This is how you separate function into different modules. It's very easy to organize. Okay, but if you like, I don't want to use lib1, I want to use file average right away, then this is what you need to do. So instead of doing that way, so we say from lib1 import, okay, just the function file average. So this way you can call file average directly. So this is how you actually, look up this lib. So you can see that suppose this guy has been implemented in this file. And you can see that in this file we have just one function. But what if we have another function called just test, and what it does is just print out test message like this. So as you can see inside this same script here, inside this lib1.py, it means that now you have two different implementation, one for file average and the other one for test. And if you want to import this way, it means that they're gonna just import only file average function. Okay, if you want to import all of them, therefore you're gonna need to go with this one. So it's gonna be from lib1 import everything. So star represent the word everything. So therefore you can now also do the function test as well. Okay, this is give birth to the idea of the modularization in Python, when you can just implement many functions in any other script, and therefore you can just always use it from using this way. So this is the easiest way. Just import the whole thing, and you just have to reference to the module or library names followed by the dot operators and the name of the function. Or if you want to import particular function from inside that lib, as you can see there are now two functions, but you just want the first command or first function only. So therefore you say from lib import only this function. And then you don't need to use this prefix anymore. You can just ignore it, and you can directly call the name of this function. Okay, or if you feel like, I want to just use all the function, what should I do? Then you have to say from lib import everything. Instead of just particular function, you import all the functions, and you can just call any function that you implemented in lib1.py. And the good thing about from import statement is that you don't have to always prefix your function name with the library names right here. Each script will be called library. Just like when you enter library, we have many books, right? So each book considered to be your one function. All right, so that's gonna be the tutorial for this video tutorial. So therefore, in the next video tutorial, we will look at how do we now move on to data mining part when we talk about the use of pandas data frame. So this is really powerful frameworks that they have it in the separate library that pre-install with the Orange, so that you can also use these kinds of the techniques, okay, to import this function to use in Orange as well. Okay, all right, until then I'm going to save this one as the script as well, just in case you need it as the backup. Okay, so that you can always, okay, this is gonna be my comments for this. Okay, so you can just select all of this and place command or control slash on your keyboard. If you use Macintosh, use command slash. If you use PC or Windows, then use control slash. Alright, and let me save this as well. So let me save it for your backup. Okay, alright, so let me go open another file, and that's gonna be your Python script. Let's be called py1.py. See, the Python script always have the extension py. So let me save it right here. So I'm going to upload this for you as well. Okay, thank you, and I'll see you again in the next video.